Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic, now TBC Classic, and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and today I'm joined by Mel, aka Melorina. How you doing?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Took a nap. Still tired, but I'll wake up soon, I hope.
Yeah, I'm tired too. I did take a nap, but I'm hoping to pep up as the show goes on. But we are also joined by a man who took an all-nighter last night. This is Ryan, aka Cognitive Pit. How are you doing besides tired?
I'm actually, I feel more awake than everyone else actually, because I also just took a nap, but I feel like it was like short enough that it just refreshed me. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to roll. It's been a long time since I pulled an all-nighter for a reason other than WoW. So that was not as pleasant.
Yeah. Wow. I've done it actually twice in the last couple weeks, and it's amazing how much you can get done in the middle of the night when nobody's on.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm Eastern, so just that couple hour difference. Like if I'm up at like 9 my time and I get on, it's so empty. And if you happen to magically get on to layer 2 during those off hours, it's just you have the world to yourself.
Yep. Yep. Oh man. All right. So it's gonna be an interesting show today. We're gonna start off with what we've been doing lately. We're gonna get into the news, which is real short and sweet, and then we're gonna get into discussion. And we have an actual listener who's gonna come on and talk about the same faction BGs. So that'll be interesting too. So with that said, let's jump into it. We had no new reviews this week, but hey, man, they've come in so much the last couple of weeks. You can do with an off week. It did make me sad a little bit, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
We'll let it slide just this 1 week.
Well, what have you guys been doing lately in WoW?
I've been leveling my druid. So the tank Discord that I'm in has been pretty much on a constant meltdown over the last like 2 weeks, I'd say, about how bad warriors are compared to druids. And everyone has just been such a downer. I can't help but jump on board of that like horrible anxiety. So I was like, okay, let's get the druid up now and
Just in case.
just be ready for whatever may come, because it was seeming like, oh, I'll go druid in phase 5 for Sunwell. It might need to be earlier than that. We'll see how things pan out. So I'm leveling my druid, which has been interesting. I've done a lot of quests on my druid. I don't like questing typically.
What?
I've had to learn. I don't know. I just don't like questing.
You'd rather mindlessly kill mobs than quest. That's so weird to me.
No, I would rather be max level. That's what I would rather do. I had to learn how to play cat, and that was like the real struggle. Was in order to solo level, I had to learn to play cat, and I had never, I had the gist, and I was like, yeah, something power shifting, something, I don't know, I have no idea. But now I actually get it now, and I'm I'm a full-fledged mediocre tank cat, and it's been interesting. I've been feeling the depression of my druid already being better at level 65 out in the world than my warrior is. My warrior just hits like a wet noodle, and that's been unfortunate. But no,
Well,
I have
I
a
mean,
65 druid to farm for me.
if you do end up switching your main over to the druid, then you'll be able to keep your warrior pretty much PvP spec the entire time, and that's pretty fun in the world. I'm not lying.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing, is just staying deep prot spec it's kind of just whatever. I mean, it's fine, and the damage is just fine. It just doesn't. It's not that fun. So usually I just dual wield and like spam devastate on stuff, and that ends up working out just fine. But the cat, the nice thing about the tank druid is you have, I think, every single DPS talent that you would have as a cat. So you can end up being almost exactly the same. So it's really nice to just be out there and be a DPS, then go into a dungeon, and then also tank and not be gimped there either.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like kind of the best of both worlds. I think I'd enjoy Druid. I've always thought about making one, but I just never have.
Yeah,
I
it
made
just
one,
feels
but I
like
still
Fury
don't know
Prot.
how to play cat. I
Druid
know how to
feels
play
like the
tree.
Fury Prot of this expansion because you can DPS and you're a tank. That's like the
Yeah.
big thing, and they do really well on the threat. And as we talk about raids more too, I find that like on Gruul, it's way easier to be a druid off tank than a warrior off tank, at least from the way that I was off tanking. So uh, there's definitely some big Fury Prot vibes coming from the druid.
Is like AoE threat seem a little bit easier? Like, cause it's kind of a pain with the warrior.
Yeah, it's definitely easier. The swipe is like seems like it's such an unbelievably overpowered ability. It's just at my level, it's just not doing anything for me. I'm out there in greens, and the people that I dungeon with are sometimes like 4 levels higher than me, and I'm like I'm doing my best here. And then you have to deal with like the normal pugs, and I don't care that much. Like I don't mind when people just like attack things before I do, as long as they're accepting of their death that might end up happening.
It's
But
what I do
it
every
is
time
frustrating.
every time I throw seed, I'm accepting death before it even leaves my hand.
Yeah, like hey, I'm all for it. Just don't be mad at me.
Yep.
It's like in our Kara 10 man when Yip said, "We have 3 healers. I'm not gonna stop after every boss." And I said, "Okay, that's your choice, Yip." Just know we might not be there.
We had one very close call in that era, but otherwise perfect.
Yeah,
Oh.
I ate the floor a couple times there too, but we can talk about that in a second though. But for me, I've just been PvPing with the warrior a bunch. I hit 70, Mel hit 70. We've been doing quests too. Been working on paying off the 2,800 gold that Mel loaned me so I could get my mount early.
Wow.
And I'm 500. I think I'll have enough when I get on and check the mail today to pay her off completely. So
And then
she's
he has to give me more so I can get
so
my
she can
epic
get
mount.
hers. Yep. And so
'Cause
we've been.
yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. But yeah, so we've been doing that. Been doing a lot of PvP with the warrior. Before I got some pieces of gear, it felt pretty bad. Like I was like hitting like a wet noodle, and then I was dying real fast. I was getting just like kited by everybody. But I've been doing a lot of research on how to PvP with the warrior. Because even though I played it all through Classic, I didn't really PvP much. I did a lot at the end. But I mean, I was dressed like a god with,
Yeah.
with like all the best gear and going up against basically boosted people. So, I mean, I was just destroying. So it wasn't really a good learning experience. But crafted Thunder, got my shoulders, my gloves, my belt, my PvP trinket, got some resilience gems. So I'm up to like 120 resilience now, and I'm hitting pretty hard too. So I'm finding it pretty easy to lock stuff down, especially if I have I've been running with bushy bottoms in BGs, and we will just delete targets. So that's been pretty fun. I feel pretty tough, and I can't wait to
I
get
don't want to put
tougher.
you on blast, but so I heard that you borrowed what 2,800 gold for your flying mount, and you crafted thunder, huh? That's
I did.
That's what I said.
interesting
I
how
did.
that works.
But I mean, that
Mhm.
just helps me farm the gold back
This is how Bob
better,
justifies it while I'm flying on my slow bird. And he's like, "Mel, over here." And I was like, "Oh, I'm coming. It's just gonna take a minute."
Don't worry, I'll land and kill all the horde before you get here. Don't worry.
Right? Like, no, but I have also been doing BGs on my druid. And I realized very quickly that 5k health goes very, very quickly. And I die a lot. Um,
She geared like she was going to gear for dungeons. She didn't think about getting stamina, making sure she got leather gear. She was in a bunch of cloth with no stamina, and so it's getting better now, though, right?
no, not really yet. you know, I've learned how to shapeshift out of different things, except for I just get sapped and stunned until I'm dead, usually, which is what happens. But I am getting a lot better at stealthing as cat into bases so they don't see me immediately. Um, so Bushy and I would stealth our way around Eye of the Storm.
Yeah, then I would
Really,
just walk up
really
and they'd be
fun.
like, "Oh, what's this solo warrior doing?" And then we'd blast. It was awesome.
Yes.
I
And
do
then
love
I'd
the
get
learning
deleted
curve.
and they'd finish it up.
Like on my druid, it's like I've seen druids kill me by pouncing on me and hitting buttons, and I'll do it
Mhm,
to someone else, and I'll do like a tenth of their health, and they'll kill me, and I'm like,
mhm.
okay, that wasn't quite
Isn't
it.
that exactly what I was supposed to do? Yeah. No, I know. It's the same thing with like I rebound my bear and cat transition to my mouse so I can like use them quickly, right? But I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally gone to cat instead of bear. And it second I go to cat, it's like down. You're dead. Like that was a poor choice. And I'm like, I meant to go to bear, but you know, we'll get there. And then when I first started, I got into bear and I would just be like, okay, what do I do now? Like, I'm
Yeah.
still dying.
And it's weird because Alteric Valley is actually now, like all through Classic, it was not like it ever was back in the day, like even in late Classic and TBC, but Alteric Valley is back to what it was before. Like, generally, people don't kill the last boss. You end up just taking tower by tower, and the person that wins is the person that still has
Yeah.
reinforcements when the thing hits zero. It's about a 45-minute game, and it's been different to get used to not being able to get that honor fast, but I do enjoy the games a lot more, to be honest. Like I just have to know that I'm ready for a long game, but I mean, it actually is a lot more fun now if you're not just looking for honor gains, if you're looking to like actually compete in the game. So that's been a little interesting to me because that's how it always was in TBC, tower by like tower by tower, and generally the last boss didn't die.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean the reinforcement mechanic is I think really crucial for people to not immediately just if something messes up, then even if you can still win, just the negativity of the battleground immediately
For sure.
happens and you
Yep.
start getting the people leaving and it forces the turtle that way and stuff too. So it's nice having that out where you know that there's an end to this nightmare.
Yeah, well,
And then it's not a nightmare anymore.
yeah, and people are slowly starting to accept it and not just getting angry when you don't rush. I mean, they're really making it like the Horde and the Alliance kind of making it impossible to rush now. I do
Yeah.
wish they would redesign it a little bit because that freaking bottleneck at the Alliance end base is just absurd. Who let that get in the game when there's so many ways to get around if you spawn as Horde? Like you're just trapped as Alliance, and it's just like the
Yeah, the
worst
bridge
bottleneck
right
ever.
across.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then just the bottleneck at that first tower too. Like you cannot
Yeah.
sneak by there if you're
No,
not
you can't
stealth,
at all.
and you can
I
on the
can't.
other side, and it's just weird. But other things we've done, we learned how easy Kara attunement can be if you have a geared 25-man pally tank, because Elizabeth and Corpse and one of our other druids in our guild, I forget how to say his name.
Mira, I think.
Yeah. They just basically power ran Mel and I through the entire attunement process. We didn't kill any bosses in the 2 second dungeons. We had to run the entire first dungeon. Then we went and we had already done Old Hills, Brad, but we did Black Morass, and then boom, attuned. We were just like, it was like an hour and a half. Like, it was so fast. It was just thinking
Pretty
back
easy.
to how much of a pain it was on our first characters. It's crazy. And so now we've got that too. So it's been back to Warrior. I've been having to keep and collect like DPS gear too, which is and tank gear because I don't know what my role is going to be in different things. So I'm just trying to collect all this gear, and I'm just like making my head hurt because I got to do it on 2 different characters and keep up with all my cloth making and Mel's transmutes, and we're making tons of money,
Dude,
but it's a lot.
the
Are you
primal mic
liking?
transmute being every 20 hours really stresses me out. It's just like too frequently that I have to like put all of this stuff together to make a transmute, and if I don't, I know I'm just losing 30 gold plus, and I'm just like, "Ugh."
Well, and you don't really basically prices are still going down. So like with the cloth transmutes, you want to buy the primals the day of. And if you get any motes, like you want to sell those the day of. You don't want to hold on to them because it could be gold that you've lost. And so
Oh,
until
see, I
those
hold on to
prices
them.
stabilize, there's really no reason to hold on to that. You just buy it right before you need it.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can't remember.
I can use it every 20 hours, so I hold on to them.
I can't remember who brought this up before, but I thought it was a great idea that transmutes that are like 20 to 24 hours should just reset daily at the daily reset. So you don't have to keep track of this insanity. It's just at some point during this day. And yeah, like, you might get 2 in a row if you do it right before reset, but it doesn't really matter that much. Like everything else
Right.
in this game functions by reset. Why not that?
It's not even that though. Like it's always up because I do it when I log on or something. And then I log on again the next day around the same time and it's up again. And I'm like, ugh, just like daunting to me, I guess. But I did decide to go elixir specialty. Now I'm not there yet because I had to do Caverns of Time and we did it and I didn't get all the things I needed. And so now I have to do it again. And nobody wanted to do it again that day.
Yeah, we were like, Corpse, you want to do one more run? And silence.
Everybody just was like, nobody talked.
Yep,
And
I was like, well, nope, they read us through the two-bit.
okay.
I'm just going to leave that be. And then we ended up helping Corpse and IADD run Shattered Halls so they could try again at the whatever they're going for there. They're both going for something there, but
If it's ID Shaman, is it the Blade Fist weapon or something?
I
Is that
think so.
Rogue Shadow Falls?
And
Yeah.
then I don't know, I forget what Corpse is going for, but yeah, we're going to talk about it in the news, but that's a more interesting fight now that you can't cheese it, but we'll talk about that in the news.
Also, I think one thing that I really noticed was I've been playing my druid so much that when I got on my priest to do raid, I was like, I have like unlimited mana. This is the most amazing thing ever. Like, I swear we did, what was it, Gruel? And I never drank, and I ended the fight with like 8,500 mana. And I was like, did I just not do anything? Did I just literally not cast any spells? Because I feel like I was casting spells the whole time. But yeah, my druid just deletes mana.
Just for me, it's just hard to get back to. Each time I swap back to the characters, I'm like trying to like life tap rage, like on the warrior.
I was gonna ask, does it bother you switching from like insane range DPS back to warrior? Are you like, dang it, I have to get up here and I'm getting hit and I have to
It's definitely weird, and it's really embarrassing in like doing regular dungeons because I go from being like a big dick DPS to little guy just slowly swinging. And I mean, it's such a weird change. Although I will do more DPS when I really start to spam the heroics. I'll switch over to like DPS arms, which will definitely do better. But like right now, doing a bunch of stuff in the open world quests and stuff, it's just too fun to dumpster horde that just think that I'm gonna be an easy target.
for sure.
Yeah.
For me, my biggest problem is tanking on 2 characters where druid is very close to warrior, but it's not. So going
That's like
back
the
to my
druid
warrior,
and priest, right? Like healing
yeah.
on both. It's like there's so many spells that are similar, but then there's very big differences.
Yeah, so it's like I come to raid and I'm like, remember to hit these buttons. Remember to do this.
I
Try-
made my keybinds the same. Like I have like rejuve on the druid is the same keybind as renew on the priest, and then but then there's like those other ones, right? So
Yeah,
but I
it's like
can't
my
have something crucial on one be something detrimental on the other. Like
yeah,
that's a poor
yeah.
choice.
I'm exactly the same way. My like the way I switch stances is how I shape shift and
Right.
stuff. So it's like I have to keep it the same. I had a huge problem when I was playing Shadowlands, where because there are so many more buttons
Hmm.
in retail, and taunt isn't as important in retail. I had two different taunt buttons,
Oh
which is
God.
it's like impossible to go back and forth with two different taunt buttons. So luckily that I don't have that situation going on now, so it's not too bad.
My brother was saying that he's a warrior in retail and he's played a warrior in TBC. And he was like, I just feel like I go in, I swing, then I wait, and then do it again. And there's just not a lot of buttons to push. And I was
See,
like,
well, and I think I could make my life a lot easier if I put every stance to every button and didn't have my stuff change with stances. But now doing PvP, I don't even have defensive stance with a button. So to change to defensive stance, the only time I really want to do it is when I'm going to shield reflect.
Yeah.
So I just have that shield reflect, and then my buttons to change back to arms or to berserker put my two-handed weapon back on. So
Yeah.
I literally will just hit the button. You sometimes have to hit it twice to make it work because it's doing a lot of stuff. It's put my shield and other mace on, and like it's doing a lot. But like it's it's I could make my life, I think, a lot easier if I just used all the same buttons and it just changed stances. But I
Yeah, I
just
mean for
don't want to do that.
PvP efficiency though, like you do want to have these like other things. Like I want I want mainly the way I get into battle stances with overpower, but when I'm not PvPing, I don't want that. I'm usually charging when I'm going into battle stances.
right.
Yeah, it's tough, but yeah, I miss vanilla when I had a couple less buttons.
Yeah, and I'm
I
still
did.
learning to do the what's it? Not intercept, but the
Intervene. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
awful at
because
intervene.
there's so many
I'm just
good ways to use it to like catch up to like the flag carrier or something like that. Like, but I need to like get that in my rotation. I'm getting everything else in. I reflected a polymorph the other day, and that felt good.
Well, I found the downfall of using like Healbot or like my raid frames, right? Is that if I'm out in the open world or something and I need to heal somebody who's not in my raid, I'm like have no idea where the buttons are for that spell. I'm like, I'm trying to like move my mouse to click it. And I'm like, is that even on my bar? Like, I don't, oh God, it's bad.
Yeah, it was funny. Oh, actually, I'm not going to tell that story. Never mind. Is there anything else I can think of that we've been doing? I mean, I've been still working good on the lock. He's got a lot of good stuff. I'm doing pretty good DPS wise.
Oh,
Oh,
I got my white man hood.
to
nice.
oh, nice. Yeah, you did. Here, how about this? To move us into raid progression, I kind of want to talk a little bit about groups and like how important it is in TBC. So, in vanilla, as a warrior, all you really had to worry about is getting your buffs, doing your thing, and then talking somebody into putting you into a group with a marksman hunter. And that was what you had to worry about. Well, in TBC, there's so much that goes into group comp that it's uncanny. I mean, like if you don't have the right group, you're not going to parse. And it was kind of a bummer because I was getting these high 90 parses and 99 parses for the last 2 weeks in Kara. Then I go into Kara this week. I'm the only warlock, and I have a resto chamois, so I'm missing 3 more percent hit. So I have to like drop out a bunch of crit gear to get hit gear. So I'm like 4% less crit. And it's just nuts how less powerful you are, and now I'm getting all mid 80s parses, and it's kind of a bummer. And then you think about 25 bands. The last 2 weeks I've been so lucky to be in the big group, like Elemental Shammy, Boomkin, three Shadow Destro Warlocks. And I mean, it's been amazing. Like I could pump, but then I feel bad for the people that aren't, and then like, a arcane mage could pump, but they have to be in that group that does that. And it kind of makes me want a different category in Warcraft logs where it actually categorizes you different based on the group that you're in. I don't know how you would set that up, but they already do it where if you swap chamois in and you get multiple bloodlusts or whatever it's called on Alliance side, if you get multiple of those, then it actually shows that in the log and kind of shames
It shames you.
Yeah.
It shames you socially.
But like, what about for the people, because I thought the no world buff parses were really cool. What about the people that don't get in the big group,
Yeah, your correct group comp is basically the world buffs of
Yeah,
this expansion.
exactly.
If you're not in a good one, and we're low on shamans overall, so we sort of have to rotate around. And this week we gave our enhancement shaman to our rogues in the 25 man to let them go parse. But then you see other people who are now going to miss that that heroism. They're going to miss the buffs that they bring. And like, there's just nothing you can do to overcome that. It's the same thing with world buffs. It's trying to parse without world buffs is just silly, which is why as a tank I advocate for the death of parsing.
I mean honestly, like I feel good as long as like, it just turns into a different game if I'm only trying to beat my group that I'm in. But
yeah, it's like old school like raiding where you're just trying to win in the raid you're in as
Yep.
opposed to the overall parsing.
Yep. And I mean that's still fun, but it's just weird to see like, oh, on this fight last week I had 1.6k DPS. Now this week I have 700. It's such a big difference, and it is kind of a bummer for a lot of people. And luckily, we're not the type of guild that moves the chamois into the warlock group, like, because that would suck even more for people. And it's really weird, and it throws the whole DPS metrics off on like Warcraft logs, because you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, rogues and warriors suck. But do they really? Or are they just not getting the love that they could be getting? Are they getting an arms warrior? Are they getting, are they getting these different buffs that they need? Or are they just there for just straight up kicks and everything else? And it's, like, no one ever said that warriors and rogues didn't do good DPS in TBC. And I think a lot of people misconstrue that. We said that it was the fight mechanics were not good for melee. They still pump if they don't have to move. So I think a lot of people misconstrue what we're actually saying, the basis of what we say.
Yeah, there's just a level of babying that has to happen to get a really good parse. I mean, arcane mages, you're just giving them every single innervate that you end up having. So I mean, it's just how it is. I was looking at tank parses over this last week and seeing what people are doing, and there's a ton of these Chinese guilds that are on prince who can just kill you sometimes, but usually just on phase 2. Once they get into phase 3, they go into berserker stance and start executing.
I know.
And they have the perfect group comp for it, and they're just being absolutely baby to the point where, I mean, I think that DPS parses for tanks are kind of silly to begin with, but that sort of thing, it just makes it there's no point. There's not even any reason to worry about that. So in my pursuit of perfection, I'm now paying attention to making sure I'm hitting my buttons enough. So I'm just looking at how many casts per minute of the spells that I should be casting the most,
Basically,
and
your
getting those
uptime.
numbers up. Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like my measurement of how well I'm doing my rotation and how much threat that I can, because I think that's just obviously a more worthwhile stat to follow. You just don't get to see a cool number next to your name, but even
I don't even
even
know
when I
where to
do it
look at
right.
parses. I don't even know where that.
You're a healer. Just don't. Just
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
have because it just doesn't take into account like everything that goes into healing, and it, I believe, still counts over healing as like a positive thing, which
you know what
is
what
fine.
happens, which is the biggest problem. Our guilds, at least, best healing parses typically happen when we perform the worst at a boss because more people are taking more damage. So you
Yep.
Right.
just have to heal more. And that's kind of like the gist of heal parses, where it's like it's there's some you can't get a 99 if you're bad, but
Right.
it also, there's no functional difference between getting a 70 and a 99 if no one died. That's
Right.
just, yeah.
Like I feel like me healing and wasting mana when it's not needed is stupid too. So I
Yeah.
don't care about the parse meta.
Well, I mean, you did try dual wield taking. Was it just once or a couple times
Yeah,
in
just
Kara?
just once. I need to pick up Latris. Every time it dropped, I passed it to a rogue in our guild. Now I'm regretting it. I wanted to try dual wield tanking. I only have a Devastator, which is just too slow to get out enough heroic strikes for it to be worth it. And the DPS increase is so insanely minimal that there's zero reason to do it. So I do want to get a Latros and try dual wield tanking again. But I'm running into this problem, and I think a lot of people are, and I actually pulled up logs to even uh, to get a good example of what's happening. But I'm pretty geared. I have pretty much all my mitigation gear except maybe my pants from Curator. Uh, and I have a lot of defense as opposed to, I'm not like resilience stacked. I'm defense stacked, and I just don't take damage anymore. And if I don't take damage, I don't get rage, and so it's been a huge problem. So I wanted to try dual wielding some stuff in Kara, because Kara, especially if people aren't getting salved, it actually is kind of hard to hold threat on stuff. Like, you just don't get enough rage to be able to hit all your buttons. But I pulled up a log of High King Mulgar, and over the course of 10 melee hits, he hit me with one of them.
Wow.
It's dodge, 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 miss, dodge, hit, parry, dodge, parry. And it's like, I cannot get, like, if people were on that boss and I was just not getting hit that often, I would probably lose threat. Now, luckily on that fight, it doesn't really matter because I'm on him for like a minute before anyone else is even on him the way that we do it. I know that people are just cleaving him down or like killing him immediately and
Yeah, I was
bursting
just about
him,
to
but
say. So you're saying we can't do the 19-second just burn King down first?
well, the reason you can do that is because I'll just get aggro, and then we'll have like one or two DPS died. It's whatever. He'll be dead in no time still.
Yeah. Sacrifice yourself, Bob.
Yeah, but
I'm willing to do it for the parse. I'm willing to
yeah,
risk it for the biscuit.
so I've been trying a bunch of like different things to see how I can just kind of compete better and make sure I'm not rage starving myself. So like on Gruul, I've normally been very good about shield blocking, but at this point I've been stam stacking. I've got like 17 to 18,000 health buffed, and Gruul, especially at the beginning of the fight, he crushes me for like 5,000 health.
Oh
And
God.
so it's like, that's really no big deal
Right.
at all. I actually prefer him to crush me so I have more rage. So that's what I was doing, was just letting him hit me as much as he could. And even still, though, that doesn't prevent all these dodges and parries from happening. So it's a little tough. There's a couple threat pieces that I might need to make it a little simpler. But yeah, I've just been trying stuff like that to try to really make sure that threat isn't a big problem for us, because we do have pumpers like Bob who might get a 99 parse, and you know, if you're not on top of your game, like, you're
And
gonna
that's when he
pull.
dies.
If you're doing some of the best DPS possible, you're gonna pull.
Yeah.
if my threat's not there. So
I've
I've just been
gotten
having fun doing that.
I've gotten pretty good at using soul shatter because the start of a fight I'll pop. Now I started this week using that macro we talked about last week where I pop my destruction potion and I pop my trinket, and I'll go real hard, real fast. I'll be creeping up there, and then I'm like soul shatter, and like it helps quite a bit. But like I'm finding out that it's actually better DPS to use mana pots throughout the rest of the fight after that.
Interesting.
Just because you get more uptime and like the spell power is pretty good, but having the mana, it also depends on the fight. Like a fight like Mag, you would use destruction pots every time it's up because you're always going to be able to life tap during the rumbles. But a fight where you don't have time that you're running some place or time that you can't do DPS on the boss, those are the fights that mana pots become better. And so there's a lot of different things in Warlock that put you above the rest. A lot of little intricate things like that. You just have to kind of know fight by fight.
I found out last week. I guess I wasn't aware of this, but FJ told me that on Mag Therodon, his soul shadow resisted and it just didn't reduce his threat. So for the last 30%, he just had to like stop. He just couldn't pump because it just kept his threat high, which was pretty bizarre and unfortunate.
That is crazy. Okay, I didn't even know that could happen, but it definitely hasn't happened to me yet because I always watch it and I see my threat go way down.
Yeah,
it's actually a huge move. It's really nice to have.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I feel like a lot of classes just need these sort of abilities.
That's one thing I see on my druid is that I don't have fade. So if I take aggro, I'm like, what now? Like, somebody get it off of me. I'm about to die. I only have 5,000 health.
You could have convinced me. The other priests in our guild are always pulling. So
well, they don't. And the sad part is when they pull, if they don't hit fade immediately, they're just boom dead. Yeah,
I pulled up. I guess we'll go through some of this. I'll start with the 25 man because that's what we're talking about. But last night we just had the simplest 25 man. It took us 34 minutes, I think, from first pull to being done, and that's with journeying over to Mag Therodon. So the actual raid content,
and everything.
Yeah, it's so small, which is it is what it is, I guess, right? But we're just completely crushing it there. But on Mag Therodon, when the last channeler dies, he pops out of his little banish. And I was linking some screenshots of Warcraft logs as it's like, as soon as he comes out, I shield slam, which misses, or he dodges it. And then Cade and Kim, who are both priests, have like 8 to 10k prayer of whatever the AoE heal.
Yeah, circle of healing or prayer
circle
of
healing, prayer of healing, just for like 8,000, and then they both die. They both pull and die. And there's nothing that could be done at that point in time.
Yeah.
Which, it's funny because with locks, if you're not assigned to a specific curse, and honestly, like, there isn't a curse that you really need on Mag besides elements. Like, Wreck is not really something that's going to give more DPS than you just doing Curse of Doom. So you do Curse of Doom, as long as something hits them, it does no aggro. It only takes aggro if you put Curse of Doom on and nobody else casts anything on it. But yeah, so I had cast that and I was like, oh no, that's completely fine. But it freaked me out.
I've been feeling that a lot. There's not a lot of hit gear there's like almost no tank hit gear right now, which is making it very difficult for me to gear. And the hit gear that does drop, DPS want for the most part, and I'm just not taking it from them. I did finally get the shield that has hit on it from Grohl, which is excellent. But the pull variance is really, really bad, where dots are gonna pull because I'll if people only wait one GCD, there's like a reasonable chance that they're gonna dodge, that they're gonna parry, or that I'm gonna miss. Because I'm not even close. I don't even have 6% hit. So there's just a huge chance that it's just not gonna go through. Luckily, hit chance is not as important as it was in Classic for people who don't know. So in Classic, if you hit an ability as a warrior and you missed, you lost all the rage that you spent on that ability.
Oh,
But
jeez.
now you don't lose that rage.
Okay, I have noticed that in
Yeah.
in BGs on the warrior. Like I'll do like I'll get dodged or parried on a mortal strike, and I don't lose the rage. I do lose the CD, but I don't lose the rage. I'm like, huh.
Yeah, so for tanking, that is incredibly important. It makes hit not anywhere near as important as it was. Obviously, I still want it, but there's just not that many pieces with it right now. So there are many times, especially like in care, where someone will dot something I'm attacking, and it's just there it goes. I just haven't hit it, unfortunately.
You
Yeah.
guys, I had a moment on this mag this time where one of the infernal guys was running at me and chasing me,
Yep.
and I feared him. Yep, I did it.
Nice.
I didn't
nice.
die. Been many of times where I'm just like not in the mindset of fear. I'm in the mindset of healing. But I did it. So we're there. We're at that milestone now. I can fear
That's good.
effectively.
I mean, hey, that's a big. That's big.
Something you might not know
Thank
about
you, Yip.
Curse of Doom, but Yip, it's because I didn't know really much about Curse of Doom at all. Because in PvP, I just didn't use it.
Yeah.
But it does nothing for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Or no, hold on. Is it? I think it's
2 minutes, right?
Is
Isn't
it 2 minutes or 1 minute?
I think it's 2 minutes.
See, now you got me second guessing. But yeah, so
maybe
I think it's 1 minute. I'm pretty sure. And so we did the freaking okay. So usually I'll run over, put Curse of Doom on the fourth mob that we kill. But now we're killing them so fast. I need to get it on the fifth mob because we killed the fourth mob when I still had 20 seconds left on that Curse of Doom. And Curse of Doom does an enormous amount of freaking damage. And so
It's 1 minute.
yeah, I was pretty sure it was one, but like on King, you know, like all the locks that are throwing Curse of Doom up on King as they run past to go for what's it called? Then on Trash, you're throwing up, if you know, on the other two targets that aren't the first kill target, you're throwing Curse of Agony, like because you know you're gonna have because that one does more damage the longer it's on, so it does the most damage in the last few seconds. So you don't want to use it if the mob's gonna die fast. There's a lot of different intricacies that are really neat. I don't know why I got on a tangent.
And well, like you said, we pushed damage insanely this time, and I think part of it had to do with the way we were tanking them, as opposed to one tank tanking the first two. We had two tanks tanking the first two, so we could hold threat better.
Oh, and the curse of tongues was really smart. I unfortunately got tasked with that curse, so I couldn't have my other curses on all the other mobs, but. Like it was still like it worked out really good. Like I didn't even think to use that, but that makes kicking a ton easier.
Yeah, but normally mag comes out when the last channeler is like dying, but this time we killed the last channeler to make mag come out with like a long time left. I was like looking at the time and I was like, oh, I've got plenty of time. I was there kicking and DPSing too on the last guy because we had so much time, and then I could run over when he was really low. So we've really have, I guess, come a long way. I mean, it's really only been a month.
Yeah.
So,
it does seem pretty easy now, though, right? Whereas when we first went to mag, it was like, oh, gotta get through phase one.
Yeah, it seemed really, really rough at the time. I've seen some guilds actually stack. I know like we've been spreading to not get infernal, but I've seen a lot of people stack and then just AoE heal through the infernal damage, which
probably all the
may or may not work. I don't know.
Like with 3 priests, that's, you know, if you guys were to coordinate that, you could AoE heal just on rotation too.
Yeah, so
what do you mean on rotation?
I just let it slide.
So
I was like, no,
on like Kim goes first, you go second, Cade goes next. Like whenever one comes into the pack.
No, but our AoE heal, like
It's
our
No,
circle
A-
of healing.
AOE fear. Sorry,
Fear.
I might have
okay.
I might have said heal. Sorry.
Got it.
I was like, move on because there's too many misconceptions of how healing works.
Sorry,
Like
sorry.
that's
No,
the
no.
thing.
I meant
Yeah, well,
AOE
yeah.
fear because they're all
Yeah.
coming to us stacked.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's so funny that the first like week or two, getting used to having no warriors, that just reminded me of that because in my head I'm like, or the warriors can intimidating shout. Oh wait, that's
Just
that's
you.
just me. I remember being like, oh, these are disarmable, and everyone's like, okay.
Cool.
I was like, oh yeah, we don't have 12 warriors in here.
Oh,
Oh,
it seems
God.
like we have 12 rogues though, or at least they're just very loud.
Yeah. But with
They're
Kara,
rogues.
I finally killed Nightbane. I was given a pity group.
Yeah.
A clear pity group. We had a mage who wasn't improved Blizzard, so it wasn't as pity as I was thinking
True.
it was going to be. I guess actually wait,
You
did I
had
only have?
me, which
I
was
thought we
really
had two
the
warlocks, but maybe I'm
We
crazy.
only
I guess we
had
just
one.
one.
Yeah.
We just had you as warlock. We had 3 healers. That's right. The 3
Yeah.
healer thing was the big one, which felt really awful.
Yeah.
3 healers. Like I'm pretty sure some of our healers could one heal Karazhan.
Yeah.
Just at the level of gear that they have and their ability to play the
Like,
game.
I feel like with the exception of maybe the boss with the beams.
Yeah, but the thing with the boss with the beams is if you bring in another DPS, you can kill him actually so much
Right.
faster
See,
Yeah.
as well too.
and so I feel like our chamois, we only have one resto chamois, right?
Currently, yeah, but we're
But-
a couple are on their way, I think.
I feel like they would better serve as like what Melderon told us that his guild did in Classic. Like, you just spec elemental, have 2 different gear sets, and when you need to, switch the set over and just heal as elemental. And you're always going to be buffing your higher damage class big time by that. That 3% hit is huge.
Wait, is elemental the caster?
Yeah.
Yeah, the DPS.
Yeah.
It's very confusing to me. I don't know why. Which
Well,
one
it's-
is which?
Not just that either. I mean, optimal healer play, especially in Karazhan, and I don't care enough to be like, hey, you should be doing this. But a lot of healers will, when the healing is light, they'll DPS, they'll smite or lightning bolt or whatever they need to do in between. And it's something that's talked about in the tanking Discord that I'm in as well too, because someone will be like, oh, if I do this and this, I can do 50 DPS more, but it might be at the cost where healers have to heal as opposed to maybe smiting or lightning bolting if they could get that in. So you have to weigh the overall DPS at that point. But yeah, I mean, 3 healers was definitely a lot, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the 3 healers. I feel justified because part of me was wondering, because there's really no one else like leading my Karas for the most part, but we had Harscare this time, and I was like, he's gonna show us some strategy where I'm just an idiot and I've been doing it wrong the whole time. Nope, not doing it wrong the whole time. We were fine. The problem was that, and when we looked back, is that our priests are wearing like white mend. Did I make that up?
Yeah.
It has no stamina on it. It has none at all, so they had no health.
But I never got hit.
Yeah, well, I think Kate and Kim also have no, like, they don't know how to pump the brakes ever. So like they just go full ham and then pull. But none of that matters anymore because basically the day after, I think, the last podcast where I was complaining about Nightbane, I did confirm that commanding shout is supposed to work, and then on Tuesday it definitely works. You just spam commanding shout a couple of times as he after the threat wipe, and then you get hit by the thing coming down, and you mitigate way more damage than your priest mitigates when you get hit by that smoking barrage.
My favorite was the first time, and I think I said this last week, the first time he came down, he literally annihilated Kim. Our first attempt when we did it. But Kim was also standing really far forward, and that was what was making me nervous about our group this time, is everybody was kind of just like right there, and I would like back up all the way, like just 40 yards so I could still heal you, but I was like way away until he landed, and then I'd come join the group. Like that was fine. But yeah, they were very close.
Yeah, I do feel, especially with priest aggro, because it seems to be a recurring thing, and I hate to be the tank who's like, it's not my problem. Like, you guys have to fix it. But
But did I take
it,
aggro from you? I didn't take aggro from you
no,
at all.
exactly. But like, it's like the mag thing where when he's coming out, he has no threat on anything. Healers just need
Right.
to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Like, because you're gonna pull when Nightbane's coming down. You just can't pump super hard.
Well, that's why I
or
give you a
Yeah.
it's
prayer
gonna
of
be a
mending, because prayer of mending actually gives you the threat
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
me, right? So
It
it
just gives
gives
you
the
the
threat to the
annoying
person to
noise.
heal.
Cha-ching,
Yeah, it's
cha-ching.
I
wonderful.
know.
But
I'll just give it to you over and over and over and over again.
one thing that range can do, and another reason why melee DPS suffer in this, in these first phases. Here's another example. But you can still DPS the boss when he's in the air. You just have to stop when he's landing, and that's like a big thing to like get him down quite a bit faster. Because I mean, I'll get in like a good 5 shadow bolts while he's up in the air, and that's huge. Like,
Yeah,
because it's
I
just
mean,
time you're sitting there.
threat meters are, I think, everyone thinks that vanilla was like like you have to watch your threat and wait for 5 sunders, but I actually kind of feel like we're feeling that way more in TBC, where there are all these mechanics where threat is being wiped during certain phases, and if you have a threat meter, you can just see when those wipes happen.
Is it
If you
effective for healers though? Or threat
yeah
healers like, because we were talking about it, because the healer's not going to be targeted on the mob necessarily.
And it reads the targeted mob is the
yeah
problem.
yeah, you'd have to all of your healing would have to be like target stuff, or like you'd have to be like mouse over
And a lot
macros
of
and
mine
stuff like
is, I
that.
guess, but
Yeah.
I've just never used them, so I have no idea if I'm on high on threat. I have the mob like on my focus now, so if I see them target me, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But
What I think it comes down to, and this is not supposed to be condescending, but in vanilla, it was super easy for healers to just never have to
mhm.
learn how a fight works because it just doesn't matter. Whereas now it's like, okay, I know when Nightbane gets to this part, the threat will wipe or something like that. Like you don't
Right.
need to know. Like you have to be a little more involved.
Well, it's the
At
same
least
with, okay, what's the dragon boss with the beams?
a Nightbane. No, wait, not
No,
Nightbane. Nether Spite.
Nether
Nether
spite.
Spite.
Nether
I was like, no.
Nightbane. I always
Um,
mix.
Nether Spite.
Another way that you only get to parse if you're group 1 first blue beam.
Oh.
Another example.
But for Nether Spite, like when everybody runs to the window, right, during the phase, if you're constantly healing, you will have aggro on Nether Spite when he comes out immediately.
Yep.
And I think in our last group this last week, I think our shaman kept healing, and there was 3 of us, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna die. Like, I'll throw out a renew and call it a day, right? Like, you guys can bandage, you guys can do other things, and then as soon as I see him target somebody else, you can prayer of healing and get everybody topped off. But I feel like those are little things that people, and there's certain groups I've been in where it's not an option. Like, we have to heal during that phase or
Yeah.
everybody's gonna die. Like, and I get that. But with the 3 healers, like there was no reason for us.
I think Kim has actually worked that into his strategy, like because he like purposeful. I don't want to say purposefully dies, but we go into it and he knows he's gonna die, so he's soulstone and he has spirit of redemption or whatever, and it actually like is a boost to his. He can burn through 100% of his mana at the
Oh, yeah.
window phase, and then die in soulstone for phase 2, and as long as it's
Oh
dead,
my
he can
God.
have an insane par still. So it's just worked into the
Come on,
mechanic
Kim.
now.
That's hilarious. Well, another thing that was interesting to me in this last week's Kara group, and I'm going to put you kind of on the spot here, Yip, and I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't bring it up on the podcast, but it cracked us up. And so it's the first time I was in a group with Harskar, and at the end of the night, we rolled off all the void crystals. And
Right?
Yeah,
we
I have mine.
Yeah,
I've been saving them for guild stuff.
yeah, and I was
Well,
about to say, like,
we've never had
given
them in
them,
any other group.
yeah, like even when I'm the disenchanter, I send him to I send him to Stoof normally because she was normally in
Yeah.
my group, and so I'm like, should I have just been keeping those, or is other people keeping those?
Archer
Or
just flies by the seat of his pants. Here's the problem. Very quickly, phase 2 is going to be creeping up on us. And I am not buying my resistance craftable gear. So the guild's going to need to figure that one out. And my thought was that that's where some of this is going to be going to, because the gear is extraordinarily expensive.
oh,
but
dude.
when you
Speaking of that,
when you guys build the groups, could you just request that Mel be in Harskar's group? Because that seems to be the golden
yeah,
ticket
it
there.
seems to be the golden
Right.
ticket. Okay, so yeah, speaking of resistance gear, I found out I'm not done with badges. I'm gonna I've got like 25 that I don't have to use, but I'm gonna talk to Harskar. It turns out that warlocks have to tank in 25 man a fire boss. So I've got to know if I need to get all of those badges, which is gonna be a slog. And like I just thought I was gonna be ahead of the game when the new badge gear comes out, but I'm assuming FJ's saving up for him too. I don't know if Harry Dodders is, but I mean, I need to know if I'm going to have to do that, or, you know, we need more than one lock to do it, because what if someone's sick, or, you know, and so like now I'm like, okay, well, that's another 85 badges.
Yeah, especially with how simple phase 1 is, we do probably need to start making these plans for phase 2 so that we can be most prepared going into it, because it is there are multiple resistance fights that are costly. I will not be able to afford it. I'm like, as you put, I'm on a toddler mount.
Yep.
I'm no longer at the point where I'm like looking in my bank to vendor stuff to repair.
Yeah, well,
but
and
it's still costly.
the guild bank can't even fund the lock gear that I need. Now I have the necklace that you're supposed to use that you get from a quest in Shadow Moon, but there's 4 items and there's badges, and like there's no way they could just fund that. I mean, they could run me through stuff. Yeah. But
doing the daily heroic every day with you.
Yeah, I just need to know if I need to prioritize that and how quickly I am need to. So it's something I thought about just last night, to be honest.
Yeah, and man, I don't know like the specifics of the fight. I've never gone past this tier. I've only ever done Gruul, Mag, and Kara. But it would be a shame to go through all that effort and then it turns out you only need like a piece and it just doesn't even matter that much.
Yeah, well,
like,
okay, so I'm
big.
I am not going to buy it. I'm just going to say, hey, if you need me to do this, I will bank the badges, so that I'm ready. And even if we have if FJ is the one that's required to have it, I will keep him banked until he like can't show up or something.
And then you'll get him that night.
Yeah. So I'm assuming he's the chosen one to do that. But if he's not, I just need to know so I'm prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I truly have no idea, but we'll get on that soon. The only other thing that we really need to think about is that second 25 man we want to start up. We have enough signups on our sheet, to be able to do it.
I'm gonna come in with arms and get those alt hunters buffed, those alt DPSs buff melee 4%.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to run my druid through a couple dungeons so I can get a little bit more gear for this alt run, because
well, I think some of those alts also aren't even 70 yet, so we've got a little bit of work to do. But I mean, we're like we said, we're doing Gruul and Mag together in 34 minutes, and we have a whole raid night just for that. So
and we still have people on toddler mounts, so you know it could be expedited.
Yeah. Listen,
I'm guessing there will be a lot more alts on toddler mounts though, so it might make you feel more.
Well, and I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna move my warrior.
I mean, you could split up the mains, too, and really make it a lot easier. It just all depends on if like the guild's worried about parsing or worried about like working everybody up. And I don't know what the guild wants to do, and I'm cool with whatever. But you could do that.
There's a bit like the like split groups like that is just a good idea for mains because of how little gear is dropping. I mean, the fact that there's just one tier piece per boss, having all the mains in one group, it feasibly you could just not get your tier. You can just not get your tier until phase 2.
You could say, hey, the reason we are doing this is because it's like mains get priority, and that way it actually works out for everybody. And then when we do like a full main raid, it could be it could be sick.
I mean, you have to think about it too, though, because I have the only piece I'll ever need from Gruul. And I think the like mag heart or head or whatever it is from mag, the quest item, is the only other thing I need from those 225 mans. So like as a priest, we craft most of our gear. So it's not as beneficial for us to be split up. It doesn't matter as much. But take that into account when you look at the tier gear, right? Because it's not going to be, priests aren't really rolling on that tier gear. They shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, what that also means is you can split up the priests easily and they won't complain because they don't even care about the gear. They're just there to they're just there because they're supposed to be.
It might be more exciting though for me to be in a null group, right? Where I actually have to heal and do something.
Could be.
Or it could be miserable.
Yeah,
so,
then one wipe happens and you're like, wait a minute, why did I trick myself into thinking
I want to go to
that
the other group?
Yeah, why did I want this?
Okay, well, I think that kind of covers it. We kind of went long on that this week, but there's really the news section is going to fly by. In 5 minutes might be actually the tops it hits. So with that said, let's move into the news. So in the news, there are hotfixes. 2 of them. One of them I have seen firsthand. So let's just go over the hotfixes. So the first one is Tear of the Earth Mother, and or Tale of Tear of, is that Tear or Tear? Tear.
It's Tear.
Tear of the Earth Mother.
You guys, it reminds me of, do you guys watch the show on Apple?
Oh, yes.
What's it called?
Mythic Quest. It's a comedy about a company that makes an MMO, and like the main guy is for sure Ian. It's hilarious, but
it's
Mel,
so funny.
Mel, go ahead.
Yeah, they had like the backstory writer is like, they had this episode where he was showing his early life, right? And he had this Tear of Androth or something, and that was the book that he was writing, and everybody called it Tear, and he was like, it's Hair of Androth. They were like, why?
Oh man,
and that was like the first time I realized, like, yeah, those two are, that's weird.
You need context. Half of English requires context.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so it's Tear of the Earth Mother, the Lexicon Demonica, and Underworld Loam quest can now be completed on heroic dungeon difficulty. I take it that those are daily quests where you get the Aethernium key, and I take it that they weren't working when you did the heroic version of those dungeons with the quest. So they are working now.
So wait, does that mean you can do the daily dungeon quest in heroic and the daily heroic dungeon quest?
Yes. Heroic? And you won't get your 2 badges for the daily one, but yeah, you can do the daily one and just do that heroic and get your Aethernium key, which are selling for about 12 to 15 gold on our server.
I think they're actually not the dungeon quests. They're
not.
They're like a Illidari quest line that you have to go into Shattered Halls a couple of times for, and I think that you just couldn't do them on heroic.
Oh, okay.
Got it. I will say, did you guys know, so is it Centurion or Cenarian? No.
Snare
What
next
is
to the
it? No, it's not Cenarian. It's something where you get a
Consortium?
bag of gems.
Oh
Consortium.
yeah.
You get a
consortium
We should tell
bag
every
of gems
month.
every month.
we should tell people
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, so you get a bag of gems every month. So those keys are very helpful to get you to, because the higher you are in reputation, the better bag of gems you get. So you get a better chance of getting, you know, better gems
Yeah, and
if you're exalted or revered than you do if you're honored or friendly.
I'm revered on Lock Dude, and in this month's bag, it's just a quest. You just go pick it up. You have to do nothing. You just go pick
Yeah.
it up. You turn it in. You get a bag, and it's in the consortium camp in Nagrand. And at revered Lock Dude looted a red gem, which I went and sold on the auction house for
How,
130
how
gold.
much are 130?
Yeah, 130
I-
gold.
I was wondering because those are like historically across expansions. Normally, the the red gems.
You know
For
what I
spell
think is
damage, there was a
funny
lot.
is that the red gems, so the living ruby is what I need to make my gems that give me plus healing, right?
Yeah.
But the living ruby gem was more expensive than the
Yep.
crafted plus healing gem. And I'm like,
Yeah, but
"What?"
I don't know about the other ones, but the spell power one is like 180 gold, so it's actually more expensive.
Yeah, it's just the demand
Got
for a
it.
single one raises the price of the uncut gem.
Right.
But
I
the
was
other
like,
gems aren't. No one wants to pay that much for the plus healing, so they'll downgrade more often too. So it creates, because you can just get the uncommon gems. It creates
mhm,
this really weird dynamic where the prices are
right.
just kind of strange. I was worried at first. I was like, wow, it's gonna be really expensive to keep gemming. My gems are so cheap now. I was actually pretty shocked how I thought I'd be regretting not being a jewel crafter, but at least for my own stuff, I feel like it's just
I mean,
they're
Mine
like
are like
putting it over
okay,
the top for
130
me.
gold.
For
Mine are
you,
like 130.
well,
yeah, for you too, it might be different.
so the regret for me about not having a jewel crafter is not being able to gamble. I mean,
Yeah,
prospecting is probably one of the most fun things ever, and if you get on TSM and you see that prospecting ore has a actual like a gold profit, you should go buy that ore until it doesn't have a profit and then just prospect it, because that is, I mean, that is fun, and you might get even more than you would have gotten, and so
So
it's
wait, what is
really cool.
prospecting?
you
It's where you
turn
take
5 ore into gems. So you take 5 ore and you can break it, you
Mm,
destroy it, and you get a random gem out of it basically. And then
got it.
it's interesting, I guess, because people know about the game far too much now. It's been like unprofitable or a gamble, but I have always recalled prospecting always to be profitable for
It was
some
always
ores.
for me
I
through
in
TBC and Wrath, and I was a
yeah, I made
it
all
was
my
huge.
gold in Cataclysm. I started really getting into gold making. I was into mount collecting starting in Wrath, and then I got really into gold making starting in Cata. And I had prospected. I wouldn't be surprised if I prospected a million, or
Yeah,
I had
it's so
like
fun.
I could bulk sell my gems and still make a profit at like a big discount from the auction house. Like it was just always profitable. So
Yeah,
it's
and
kind of
I
a
didn't
bummer to see
even
that it's a gamble.
yeah, and I didn't even like go out and mine the ore. I just bought it from the auction
Yeah,
house. Like
yeah.
it was
What I
huge.
used to do in Kata, to sorry to get off on this huge tangent, but I would actually buy ore. I was on a horde dominated server. I would buy ore horde side and then
Mm,
transfer it to the alliance side, and then I would prospect it, and I could
sneaky,
make
sneaky.
serious profit, like just tens of thousands of gold.
Oh my God.
It
Uh,
was nuts.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see with like herbing, because I'm herbing on my druid, right? And honestly, like there's a lot of things where I just buy the herbs because
Yeah,
I'm too lazy to go out and herb, or I just don't have time. But there is a lot of things where I'm much slower at questing now because I'm herbing. But that's fine. Bob's mining, and so we quested together. So we're both kind of like
yeah.
ADD children. Um, but I have so many herbs. And what I find my problem is I'm a hoarder. And I'm like, I'm gonna need this herb to make something. And then all of a sudden I've got like 80 ancient lichen herbs that I literally don't need at all. And now they're down to like 3 silver to buy. And I'm like, why do I have these? Like,
Oh man, we're getting on so many tangents, but
I know. Sorry.
just another thing. I've been getting to exact revenge on so many of these assholes that killed me when I wasn't level 70 because of the spy add-on. I only set it to give me a actual audio cue when someone on my kill on site list pops up, and I put the comments. So I know this dude killed me at level 65 and he was level 70. And I ran into him last night. He was trying to take a mine, and I got to kill him, and I camped him 3 times. Felt so good because I'm so much more
With the
powerful
help
than
of
him
your
now.
druid healer.
True. But
Come on.
I killed him twice with you not there. The first time you were there, but like she was going on her slow mount, so I was like, well, I could catch up to where you're going. I'm just gonna wait and kill him again. And dude,
It's not even a
been
mount.
glorious.
It's just my bird. It's just my bird form.
Okay, but sorry,
Like-
back on track. So the last fix is fixed and in Shattered Halls, fixed an issue where Warchief Kargath Bladefist would not cast Blade Dance in certain situations. Now, this certain situations is what we did every time. You stand on the butt, he doesn't move. Does not work anymore. He goes crazy dance. You have to spread out. We did it the other day with Corpse and IDD, and yeah, it's not super horrible, but it definitely crazy because I had never even seen it because we'd always just cheesed it.
Wait,
Well,
is this the one in the room like with all of the like bench seats and then the boss is there? Or
it's the
am I
last
thinking
boss.
of I'm just thinking of a completely different boss.
You're
That's fine.
thinking of the boss that I always take aggro on and pull like 1.7k DPS.
No, not that one. I think it's definitely a different dungeon. So it's fine.
Well, for warrior tanks, this actually doesn't affect anything for us at all because we don't go to Shatter Halls. we don't do that heroic.
Yeah, so you're good.
A true nightmare in there. And if we do it, it's just because we're just watching the spellcasters do it for us.
Yeah,
From the
it's
sidelines.
basically
I sit there waving. Good job, guys.
Yeah, you just run in the room and
Yes.
pull everything
Yeah.
and then get it to where you can start blizzarding and stuff. But yeah, that's been changed. But so that's it for the news. So let's move into discussion. All right, guys. All right. So for discussion this week, we are bringing in someone that's not a content creator from the community, and we're gonna see what they have to say. If they can combat Yip, if they have a better idea, we're just gonna see. So welcome to the show, Jordan.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. All right. So you were saying you didn't have anything prepared, but how do you want to start this off?
I guess I'll give you a little rundown of myself. So
Okay.
I only started playing WoW when Classic came out. Years ago when World of Warcraft was a thing, I was playing CSGO. My little brother actually took over my account, and now all he plays is retail WoW.
That's hilarious because I actually quit and my account was gone, and I ended up taking over my little brother's rogue account. He was like level 39. I actually ended up using that, so it's interesting. But
Yeah,
sorry,
so-
sorry. Go ahead.
No worries, there's a little bit of a lag here. So basically what happened is we started in Classic, he got me all pumped up to play, and he bailed on me. So we started on Incendious, and actually we were one of the other servers that was invaded by an alliance, basically huge guild, Scuba Cops. And yeah, it's funny to hear the opposite side. So I feel your guys' torture of getting camped and honestly, the open world is useless to me. But I also have the shitty battlegrounds queues, so I get the best of both
Mm.
worlds.
Yeah, that is rough, right? Like you're living in this kind of alternate reality where you're the non like dominant population, but you have all of the like debuffs of being the dominant faction.
It's terrible. So I remember you guys always complain about phase 2. So phase 2 for us was running through the gauntlet over to BWL.
Oh
And
yeah, that
basically
was
you would
horrible.
have multi-boxer mages just sitting there with sapper charges, dropping them and just wiping everybody out. It was great.
We actually got really lucky not to have a lot of like huge multi-boxers on white man. I think the biggest one I ever saw was 5-man multi-boxers, which is so lucky for us.
I think this is an important distinction too, and it's something I talked to Josh with about. But a lot of people think that this is like a horde and alliance thing, but this is just whichever faction is more populated is going to do this to the other faction,
100%.
no matter what.
Yeah,
it's unavoidable.
It just so happens that, and like people look at the overall population, and what they need to look at is the PvP server populations. And on regular PvE servers, like the horde to alliance discrepancy is huge. I think your server and maybe one other server are the only ones that are alliance dominated. The PvP RP servers are actually a little bit closer, but then PvE is just dominated by alliance. Like alliance are like 70-30 on PvE servers. So it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So the alliance.
Hold on. You cut out a little bit. All right, go ahead. You cut out just a smidge.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So
You just cut out again. Maybe move your mic a little closer to you.
hello?
Yeah. I think your noise gate might be causing problems, but you should be good now.
I have it on push to talk. Weird. So yeah, we started on Incendius and it was great. The populations were actually pretty fair right off the bat. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of contestant about like all the herbs and mining and stuff like that, but it evened out. It was like right around the ZG time that Scuba Cops showed up on Incendius, and then from there on, it's just been everywhere we go. They just seem to follow us. So I know I can see you laughing, but
It's like
great.
95% alliance there.
It's not a 95, but it's pretty bad. It's probably about 70-30.
Wait,
Wow.
where are you seeing 95, Mel? Are you looking on
Warcraft Tavern?
Oh no, look at
Ironforge.
ironforge.pro. Here, tell me the name
Why,
of
is
the
that
server
better?
again.
Netherwind.
Incendious.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, so we switched to
Yeah,
Netherwind
you're like
when the free stuff
60
came in.
Yeah, you're 6832 currently. Yeah, that is a big alliance population there.
Yeah, so I'm up in where am I right now? Throne of Kil'jaeden, and there is 19 alliance and myself. I'm just over in a corner hiding right now talking to you guys.
Oh man. So yeah, that is crazy. You like literally have all the shit that we have on different servers that are horde dominated, but then the horrible BGQs on top. That is interesting. I hadn't actually really thought about that.
So it's not bad though. Hey, it's part of the game, and your favorite quote, "It is what it is." So what my suggestion was after listening to Mel last week was she was talking about like free server switches, stuff like that, make it so that it's 50-50, which I agree with totally. I know it's hard to believe, but
just like to point out, guys, he agrees with Mel. Can we just, get that on record?
I liked your idea too. I
thought it was cool too. I just thought it was like, wow, that's a logistics nightmare. Is the only thing I thought.
Idealistic perspective. Yes, I understand this.
Bob's gonna like this one too. I think what they should do to make it even on my server, just to try and get them out of the open world, give Alliance dual spec. It at least gives a reason for you guys to stay over and PvP at the exact same time while being able to farm.
Dude,
So you'll be able to have both.
I actually
So-
heard that on prepared podcast, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
I think we would get into the issue if Alliance had dual spec. We would get closer to the issue of what you're having on your server right now. Because I do think that would push a lot of horde, but maybe not as many, right? Like there would still be those like horde activists.
Well, no, but hold on
so to
though.
say.
But you could do that dual spec thing as an on and off thing, and it only gives it to the faction on that specific server that has the lesser population.
I'm gonna argue with everybody here. I
No.
don't think anyone would transfer their faction for that, but I bet more Alliance would PvP and go into battleground queues. I think that would really help the queuing.
Which would actually help quite a bit, because if you look at all of the servers, the imbalance isn't really that bad. If you look at PvE and PvP, the problem of the balance skewing towards Horde is mainly on PvP servers.
Yeah, but that would push it so that the people would try and make it so that they were the underdogs if they wanted that, right?
Yeah.
So it would
Yeah.
push probably the more PvP orientated people on that server to go to a different one that had a lesser population.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
interesting.
That's
Yeah,
it
I mean,
though. I tried
the
to write
whole-
down notes and stuff like that, but this is the best you get out of me.
Well, I mean, everybody
are you
seems to think, you actually have to write stuff down because you're listening to something, you have a great idea. When podcast comes around, you're like, shit, what was I going to say?
I mean, that's Bob and I all the time. We're like, we should probably just record our conversations that we have about this game, except for the one that we had about the PvP battlegrounds, because that was not a good conversation to record. Because Bob gets angry, very angry.
Well, yeah, when you invest that much time into something, yeah, I understand completely.
Here's
No,
the
no.
question. Did you grind out all your honor and marks over that test period where you had instant queues?
I grinded my marks and everything on the pre-patch when I was getting like quadruple.
Smart man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Smart
So
man.
I only have 3 pieces. I'm not gonna lie here. I really have tried to play BGs, but besides that week, I have a kid, I have a wife, I have a job. I don't have time to sit here for 2 hours and wait to get into a queue, maybe, and then just if it's a pre-made, we're done. It's pointless.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
what
think
is the barrier? I guess here's my question: is you're on a Alliance dominated server as Horde. What is your barrier for transferring to a different server that isn't as dominated by Alliance?
I like the people I play with. I play with like my guild's called Goons. It's a bunch of people who are older like myself. Like we all have kids. Everybody's doing stuff. We all help each other out. If we need a tank, you can message in the guild. If you need a healer, everybody's out to help each other out. And honestly, like I've been in a bunch of guilds switching servers and stuff. I just really like the people here.
So if you guys had the option though to transfer your entire guild to a different server that was 50-50, do you think that you would take them up on that offer if everybody was on board?
100%. Like who wouldn't? I'm limited on time, and I would love to be able to actually stand a chance. And the worst part is it doesn't matter, and it's just probably the same with you guys. You can kill one-on-one hordes or alliance. That's fine.
Yeah, they're
but
never.
it's
They don't
always
fight you if they're one-on-one.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they run
It's
away.
always a bunch of them just dropping in. And myself, I'm broke, so I only have the 60% mount, and it does never works
the
out in my
toddler
favor.
mount. Yeah,
Well,
the
this is
only
why-
solace I can get from having a toddler mount on Arielina is that I can instantly cast it, so I can get away quickly anyways. But yeah,
This is why my main point isn't people rerolling to Horde or rerolling to Alliance, but the faction imbalance is just going to make people reroll PvE because they want to stick with the people they're playing with, or they want to be Alliance and they want to stay Alliance. But especially as more open world stuff comes out, I mean, if you want to get a Nether Drake on your server, I doubt the that Alliance guild's going to be letting you do that, at least
But I
for a
think-
very long time.
See, and
Every
I'm on
single
the
world boss down by them, pretty much instantly. They have
Yeah.
people sitting around with teleports, and they just instantly have them in.
and like I'm on the other fence. Like, you know, like basically retail has turned to basically all PvE servers with the option for PvP. I'm on the fence where I feel like every server should be PvP, and it's World of Warcraft. Like, I played PvE on the freaking beta, and it felt so bad to me. It was so
Yeah, but you have
weird to see a horde and not have the danger, not have that feeling of, is he going to attack me? Are we going to do
Okay,
this?
but you
Are we
can't
going to let
change
each
the
other
game
go?
fundamentally. I mean,
I
that's how the
know,
game
I know.
started.
No,
Like,
no.
that is.
I
that
know.
is
I'm
the
just
game.
saying, in my
Now-
perfect world, there wouldn't
I'll
be
agree with
PvE
Bob,
servers.
but they have to all be RP PvP servers.
Oh
and
my god.
you get banned if you don't talk in character.
Oh my
Because
god.
that's the only
Get
real way to
outta
play
here,
the
get
game.
outta
How
here,
art thou
you-
today?
No.
Cognitive pit likes to zug zug.
Yeah, no, God. Okay, so my biggest thing here is that the biggest barrier for people transferring off of these servers is that one, they have an entire group of people that they enjoy playing with, and they don't want to leave that group of people. We've heard that from multiple people. We've heard it from Meldron. We've heard it from here. Like, people don't want to switch because they have this group, right? In the same realm is that we have this group of people that wants to go somewhere else or wants to switch factions. Maybe they don't want to switch factions, but they can go to a server that's dominated by Horde and help out the Alliance there. I know that they make money on transfers, but Blizzard will lose more money if they don't fix this problem than they will by allowing free transfers to balance population. And I think that that's the biggest thing. And you can do something where you say, I want to transfer my guild, and everybody just says, okay, because the effort level of doing that is also very difficult, right? Like, you can't get everybody coordinated enough to do it on the same time. And like, ideally, yeah, you could, but no, like, let's remove that. Like, send out next time you log in, your guild is transferred to this server. Would you like to accept, or would you like to
Well,
stay on your server, right?
Yeah, and
And I think that
and you have to, like, if you did your whole guild move over, everybody'd have to do it separately, and you'd have to remake the guild. There's so many things
that's
that
what I'm
go
saying.
into it.
Make
Yeah.
it easy, right? Make it easy where Blizzard, just like they did when you went to Classic Realm servers or TBC Realm servers, the next time you log in, it says your guild has transferred to this server. Would you like to go with them, or would you like to stay where you are? And it doesn't cost you anything if you go with them because they transferred to a server that was accepted by Blizzard to say that this is a more dominated server.
And it lets every character go, because one of the biggest problems, like, server transfers should be should be every character on your list if you want them to, for the price that they charge. It should not be each. It's absurd. We all have like 4 characters. It would be absurd to pay for each of them to move. You know what I mean?
But I
Yeah,
don't
have
even think
4
they
characters
charge you.
myself.
They shouldn't
What?
charge you, because right now you're going to lose more money and more subscriptions if they charge you to transfer than you are from the people who are just going to quit playing. Like, they're going to stop
Well,
paying you their
they do
monthly
offer the
fee.
free ones for the overpopulated side, but if you're the overpopulated side, why would you want to leave? Is the
Correct.
is the biggest issue. But to fix that open world, I wanted to pose this to everybody. I just thought of this, see what everyone thinks. What if layers were capped so that each layer has to have even Horde and Alliance, and then if there's extra Horde, they just have their own layer that's all Horde by themselves?
That
'Cause
would
I
be
don't
cool.
see-
Wow.
I don't see a big difference between
That's
Horde
huge.
having their own layer and Horde having an overpopulated layer.
That's
But
huge.
what
That's
about
a
the
big
99
brain
one?
idea.
What about the 99.1 servers, though?
The
Like,
99.1 servers never should have existed.
Yeah, they're
They
just
shouldn't have made it into
broken,
TBC.
and basically the 99.1 servers, they need to just merge with the other 99.1 servers. I know there's
Add more
more.
layers.
Yeah, there's more hordes, but that's the way to fix that. But that's a really good idea.
Question though, so if you make them so they have to be equal, right? What if you have 1,000 Horde on and 20 Alliance on? There's one server with 20 Alliance, 20 Horde, and then the rest of them are just Horde?
There would be
Or
one layer with
one layer?
Oh
20
my
Alliance and
God.
20 Horde,
Could you
and then one with
imagine
all Horde.
the farming?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
getting on that
that would
20
make
that
farming
20
epic,
layer.
right?
The problem is, like, I think 20
I know, I'm saying
is,
that. Like,
yeah,
there's
I
never
mean,
going to be 20. But I guess the issue you get into is how do you determine who's actively playing and who's not, right? Who's sitting in chat, like
Very true, too.
tailoring, and do they account for one of those, 20 people? And okay, let's just say 2,000 people, okay? Because 20 sounds really ridiculous. But, and then who's leveling and who's doing top end dungeons? Like, there is a lot of intricacies that go into that.
is,
so I think we
but-
have to be careful.
Okay, so I already do this. Like when I get on and I'm on a certain layer, I use I use Nova world buffs to look at where there's more Horde. And then I ask for a jump if I need a jump to the side that has less Horde. Like I already do this actively.
all I know is that as this conversation switches to open world problems and not just Horde queue problems, Blizzard thought of a solution before, and it was cross realm servers, and that is the Horde versus Horde of fixing open world problems. What do you do with a 99-1 server? Well, you can't just force everyone on the same server, so you just have them show up on the same server even though they're on different servers. Their auction houses still stay different, but out in the world they're even. So I guess my concern is the lazy answer, I don't want it popping up again, I think is the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to do something, but obviously it's going to take a lot of back and forth where like we heard everybody. Like I don't really listen into it too much, but Reddit, everything that I seen within the chat on here. My friend has a character on the Alliance side of this server. So he just said like everybody was bitching basically that we had instant queues, Bob. So it sucks, but to being like the minority in all of it, it was nice for that 1 week. I finally did arena. Like I got a couple pieces, so I felt like I was more confident in actually playing arena rather than going in with my PvE gear and hoping to just blast somebody down right off the bat or I'm dead.
So something
Right.
that's really interesting about this, like the weekend where you guys had instant queues. All of a sudden, I won 50% of my games, and the Horde didn't try as hard as they did before. There were tons
Yep.
of times where they just give up. You'd see them AFKing like the fucking Alliance do every time
Because
I
they're
get pissed
instant queues
off.
and they don't have to
Yeah.
wait another hour and
And
a
they're
half.
just like, okay, we'll just take our mark and move on. And that's something that I thought was just an Alliance trait, but it turns out that it's probably just a trait of circumstance.
It's efficiency.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so,
Efficiency, right? Like if you know
Yeah.
you have to wait another hour to get into another queue, you're gonna get as much honor as you can, right? Whereas if you know that you can get in another queue instantly, you're gonna give up as soon as it looks like this is a dead game and
it was
get
crazy.
out so you can get back in.
Yeah, I thought
They-
it was Alliance Horde mentality, but it's not.
But I
No.
will say, even though we had instant queues, we still had hundreds of Horde camping Kara.
Oh yeah,
And I
out in the
still died
world is not
3
any
times
better.
going to Kara.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, like it sucks. I don't want to say it sucks to be you, but to have long queues and have bad open world is awful. And in an ideal
Horrible.
world, alliance dominated servers are in a battle group together where if you have if you're imbalanced in that way, you should have the long queues. At the end of the day, that's what makes sense, right? Like you have to have a balance somewhere between open world and the BGs, but there's not enough players or not enough servers for that to be a viable option, I guess.
Yeah, and we're at the mercy of Blizzard, so whatever they want to do basically goes.
Before they announced Horde versus Horde, did you think that they would ever implement something like that to fix the queues?
Honestly, listening to you guys week after week and listening to people in my chat, everybody in my guild, everybody basically on the internet, all the streamers, I knew they were going to implement something. I thought it was going to be the mercenary contract. I didn't think they would do horde versus horde, but
Yeah, see something about mercenary mode that I didn't realize because I'd never had it. I quit early Cataclysm, never had seen it. But that's different from what they put in here. That's where one horde can choose to go it, and then he's just on the team. Like he's just on the other team where, and I do understand if you did that, you could possibly like really grief people because of it, you know, and like that might be weird having a horde on your team. Like, so yeah, it's very,
Collusion that
yeah.
could happen.
never really thought of it that way, to be honest. I don't.
Yeah.
I play games solo because like this is my time to relax, my time to chill out. Like I love to play my game by myself. I'm not that person that always has to play with a bunch of people. I think that's why this worked out for me, and my friends and brother just all quitting kind of didn't affect me. But
See, I do both. Like
Yeah.
I'll go just solo BG, but I play very differently when I solo BG. That's what I usually will do. All Turk Valley, just try to like take a tower, like, you know, like I'm very different, but it's so much fun to play with other people. You get so much of a buff.
I always play with Bob, I feel like. So, you know, there's that.
I definitely
Sometimes
hate
I'll play
solo
alone.
queuing BGs.
on that note, I do have to take off. We're gonna do Gruul's Lair and Megtheridon. It was
Good
very
luck.
nice talking to you guys.
Yeah,
you
thanks for
guys
coming
down
on.
to-
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for coming on.
Have you done both of Gruul's and Mag?
Yeah, we've done it the last 3 weeks, so it's been pretty nice. We had the sword drop, which is biz for warlocks and whatnot. I can't remember what the name of it is off. I
Yeah.
think it's Blood Maul.
Are you a warlock?
So, yes, I am a warlock.
Mm. Oh boy. Go seed
I've
it up.
I've got my Void Crown last week. I have all my Spellstrike stuff, all my Frozen Shadow Weave, Stormcaller.
Don't
Got
forget
the
your soul
Orb of the
shatter.
Soul Eater.
Okay. Before you leave though, did you have anything to combat Yip's statement of this was a bad idea?
I get it. I honestly do get it from your guys' point of view. So I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. But at the exact same time, it's just when we're the 0% over here, it was nice for that one time. So I get it completely. It sucks to literally just be outnumbered all the time. And then
Yeah.
that's your one little token that you guys get to say, hey, I rolled Alliance, I get to do this, and now we get it for being the dickheads that are constantly killing you. So I get it.
Yeah, you're definitely in the worst situation.
Yeah, you are the absolute worst.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just takes a lot longer to do things, you know. It makes the game last longer. So I'm not raid logging quite yet, but I will be
There you
soon
go.
enough.
That's a
I'll
very
leave you
level
with
footed
one
view.
last thought. Have you looked into the solo slave pen heroics, Bob, on your warlock?
Heroic, huh?
Yes. So I have a guy in my guild. I'll preference this with his name spelled SCH, but his name's Shit. And he came across a video where basically you can pull back Quag all the way to the spot where the mages use, where you jump up back and forth on the wall, and you can actually solo slave pens by yourself as an SLSL lock.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah, because
Yeah, you guys should check it out.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Still haven't got Quagsmire's Eye. I've only done it twice so far, but give it a try.
Yeah,
I look forward to hearing about it.
Our mage and me and the other lock in our heroic group all have Quag's Eye. We got lucky on
Wow.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be nice. Must be nice. I've got about 60 badges and still don't have it.
Oh
Well,
God.
Call that
Dang.
podcaster privilege. Blizzard was watching, just made sure it dropped for us, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not.
All right, guys. It was a pleasure. Take care.
All right, man.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on.
much.
Take it easy.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Go back to
I really liked him. He agreed with me a lot, so he's my
Yeah, I
favorite.
mean, he's in such a unique situation where, like, we the situation
He's in
in.
our situation, but with the downsides of the horde.
Yeah, but it's also like, there's like a particular guild doing this to his server that started this. His is like a very anecdotal cause, whereas like the Alliance and Horde is like a systemic thing, where Horde are across every server overall more populated, which is where my argument comes from.
Across
it's kind of
every
hard to
PV
argue.
Yeah, every PvP server. We
Every
have to
PvP.
make that distinction because PvE servers are dominated by Ally across
Well,
the
no,
board.
I mean, no, that's it. No, that's
I
still
mean, but
wrong.
that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
True,
because
true.
there's still more Horde across the board. But I do agree that the problem is on PvP servers, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, it's hard to argue with someone who's where they're getting
Yeah.
all the bad.
Right?
It's like
I just wanted to give him a hug.
yeah, it's like you're you didn't finish your plate at dinner, and then your parents actually brought the starving kid from Africa to the table, and you're like, oh my god, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll take my kids. Like,
Oh my god.
No, it's more like you don't have a plate at dinner to finish, and they bring the starving kid from Africa
Yeah.
who's much more hungry than you, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like you're
I
getting like
don't
the
know.
worst of both situations, but that's fine.
Yeah, there's no way we can. There's nothing I
can't
can do
combat
about
that.
that.
Oh man. All right. Well, I mean, that was pretty cool. Like, I hadn't thought about the problems with that type of server, and it is rare, but there are thousands of people dealing with that on the horde side. It's not a small number. So our heart goes out to you guys. I do think this BG change is going to go through. So either way, you still should, please, Blizzard, just try to entice the Alliance to play more battlegrounds, because we don't want it to keep going, and it will keep going. Just give us every minute for itself. Give us something.
Maybe I'm just catching like Reddit threads at the
No.
wrong time. But to me, it seems like all the really hardcore players grinded their stuff over those 5 days, and there's way less people complaining on Horde side now that it's gone.
That's
It seems like
literally. Did I
they just
say
wanted
it?
the one honor grind, and
Yeah.
then that's it.
Did I say it on the pod, or did I say it to you in Discord? I thought, like, this could be a big brain move by Blizz just to
Yeah,
like
just do it for
let
one
the
time.
hardcores just grind it over the weekend and then be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that that's the case, right? Like, I'm hoping that they don't take this data and say, oh, hey, everybody loved this. But I don't even know where they're getting their data. I have not had a chance to chime in. Will you send me a survey? Because I will chime in with my thoughts on it. But I don't know where, like, when they say they're going to announce if this is going to happen consistently or if this is going to happen not at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, the big brain move very well could be real. Because again, people will like move the goalpost all the time and like, oh, we should be able to have fun in BG, but like I think most of the complainers are people who just wanted to get their honor gear and then be done with honor, because that's that's all you need to do. So I think that it could be that they just do nothing from here on out. Who knows?
Right, which I feel like is a band-aid and not a fix.
Yeah,
But
and I do want to correct something that I said. Like, I did say this is a now problem. There will be like rings and different items that come back into honor, like to be purchased by honor each season that are better, and you do have to farm those, but it's definitely less so than right now.
Well, yeah, right now Horde are going into arena with no resilience gear, and Alliance
Right.
are stacked with it. So it's never a bigger problem than right now.
right.
Even
But right
even if a
now,
small biz comes
you're
out.
seeing still that people are still playing Horde and they're not transferring to Alliance to get the shorter queues. So that's obviously not the barrier, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people transfer. I think that's just the answer. People don't re-roll factions. Like, there's a small percentage who do.
Yeah,
And yeah.
And I mean, Mel and I have only re-rolled factions on big resets. Like the only way we would re-roll Horde is if we like Classic came back in a few years and we wanted to do it again. Like we're not going to change now. Like we have like pride in our faction now. We used to be for the Horde, but
Yeah.
it grows as you do that.
Years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think any racial changes, like I know a lot of people on Alliance are calling for racial changes for Alliance. That would have had to have happened when
the first
Vanilla was
TBC.
out. Well, no, okay, yeah, in the first TBC, but I mean, while Vanilla was out, they should have announced
Right.
racial changes, and then maybe less people would reroll Horde, maybe a couple Horde would reroll Alliance. But I don't think now that we're this far in, people really are gonna reroll for quicker honor gear. I just don't think that's something that people would do. But they might reroll between expansions. But yeah, people are rerolling in the middle of an expansion. There has to be a real good reason to do it. And going to a PvE server is the easiest reason to go somewhere else.
But it's so. I'm telling you, man. Like
The hot take.
Mel
no
and I,
servers.
did the beta to level 68 on PvE server, and it just was so not scary, and just there was
it's almost like you can play the game.
yeah, but you play it with no fear, and it's just like
But that's how
the
some
fear of the
people
Horde
wanna
is
play the
good.
game.
I
Like,
know, I get it.
There's so much to the game that's not PvP that a lot of people just enjoy that. And I'm definitely not on board to take that away. It's just not what I choose to do, right? Like I
Yeah.
choose to be in that situation where Horde could kill me. What I don't want to choose to do is be in a situation where Horde always kill me because I am so outnumbered, right? It's like being in this losing war where you're just like waiting to die. Like that's not helpful. But I do think that there should be different areas of the game where you can play this way if you want, you can play this way if you want. And I think having different servers is the way to accomplish that for sure. I just think having PvP servers that are not even close to 50-50 is detrimental to that. And I think you have a lot of PvP servers that are imbalanced in one way or another that you could fix if you offered certain things. And I'm not saying faction transfer, I'm saying I liked the idea of layers. There's a lot of logistics that go into that that could make that difficult. But I also like the idea of like letting your guild transfer to a different layer or to a different server because they're outnumbered in one way or another.
All right, well, I mean, I think we actually had a really good conversation this week, and I think it's about time to end it out, guys. What do you think?
Sounds good. I'm crashing.
All right, well,
I started high
Nap is
energy,
fading.
going low energy.
do you have an add-on of the week, or do you want me to use the one that's in the notes?
Well, I had an add-on of the week. I just wanted to. I think it's a good add-on. It's better than your add-on.
I mean, my add-on's pretty good if we add in what Mel showed me last night, but we can
All right,
save
do
it
yours.
for
I'll do
next
mine
week.
next week. I'll do mine next week. You do yours. Mine,
Okay.
You do yours.
All right, let's move into the add-on of the week. So the add-on of the week this week is Gathermate 2 for Classic. Now, this add-on's great, and I used it all through Classic, but I did not realize how much I could have used it better. So the way it comes by default is you just get Gathermate 2, and then anytime you mine a node or herb a node or get an engineering gas cloud, it marks on your map and then it stays there, which is kind of nice if you map it out your whole self. But I got the other add-on that's in addition to it. That's the Gathermate info or data. And Mel showed me a cool trick. Mel, do you want to take that away?
Yeah, so you can go to the options and you can go to import data from Wowhead. And Then, you know those like screenshots you see when you go to say like, "Hey, where do I herb this?" And it'll show you like all these routes of like best herbing and mining. So those all just appear on your map or mini map now. And so when I pushed like M to look at my map, now there's just everywhere I can see where the herbs are, what the herbs are. And no, they're not always there, but that's where they have spawned, right? And so it makes it much easier. It's a slightly overwhelming for herbalists because my map is just covered in herbalism things. So I have to turn that off when I'm doing other things. But when I'm herbing, it's really nice because I can see, like, oh, I need mana thistle. These are the places I need to go for mana thistle instead of having to look it up on the internet and try to like map my route based on what's the route over there. Like I can just see it on my mini map and my regular map. And so yeah, it's been
Yeah.
super helpful.
And for mining, like I was just going around the outskirts of a map, but there's so many mines in every zone that are all over. Like, and with that on your map, you could just keep going to each one. So I did it during prime time last night for 15 minutes. I got 40 fell iron ore and 13 motes of fire in Hellfire Peninsula. And it was just because I was going to all these places I'd never flown over. Like you just follow it, and it really improved gathering. So you just have to go into the actual options of the add-on and say import data for whichever gathering thing you want to see, and it was huge. So it's something that doesn't do it by default, and so it's something I think a lot of people might not know. So I wanted to mention it.
He says a lot of people might not know it because he was like, "Oh, Mel, I wish there was a way I could just see where these herb or these mines are because they know it." And I'm like, "Okay." And I literally Googled it and found it and then did it and then loaded it on his. And he was like, "Oh."
And if I didn't find it, I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the world, but I bet there's a ton of people that didn't find it also. So I wanted to help those other small, smooth-brained people like me find those.
Well, it's like the Nova World Buff guild layers thing. It's just like you don't look at every option of every add-on you have.
Right.
And even if 90% of people know about something, if 10% need to still catch up, that's still good.
Yeah, like I
You
still
can't know.
crack up when people say like, "Is anybody on layer 2?"
Same.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"You
And
just gotta look."
I literally look and I'm like, so and so are on layer 2. And they're like, oh,
And then I message
thanks.
them. Yeah. Like, but it's funny because I randomly found that. And how long have you guys been looking at like Nova World buffs and layers and nobody knew that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right. Well, guys, let's get out of here. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can also follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us an email, we've got a couple people lined up for a new segment coming into the show where you can talk to one or two of the hosts in a pre-recorded thing about anything that you want. You can request the host. We'll try and set it up, but we've got some cool ones coming up. We've got a guy that just randomly, well, didn't randomly, but he joined a guild when he started Classic. It wasn't a very great guild, and then he ended up joining a guild that was doing top 10 stuff, and so he's going to talk about that transition and that change. But we have a few different people coming up. If you want to be considered for that, please send your emails to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to join our Discord and make that channel actually have people talking in it, you can do that by going to mash.gg/discord. How can you help the show? Well, you can tell your guild. You can tell everybody. You can just tell people in trade. Well, don't do it in trade chat because I bet you can be banned for that. Just do it outside of the bank or outside Karazhan while you're just getting destroyed by the horde. Say, Warcraft Reloaded for life. just something, and so that's the best way to help the show. The other way is leave us reviews at iTunes or Apple Podcasts or at warcraftradio.com/directory. All right. Ryan, where can we find you?
Hi, you can find me on @Cognitive Pit or on YouTube at youtube.com/Cognitive Pit.
Did you answer that Twitter ping we got?
Probably not.
I didn't.
Yeah, she combated you quite a bit and kind of
Ooh.
made fun of us a little bit, but she definitely check Twitter more.
I mean, I check it and then,
And then just don't do anything. All right, Mel, where can we find you?
Not on Twitter because I haven't seen this either. But if you
she
want
didn't
to,
ping. She didn't ping you. I guess she just doesn't like you.
or she likes me and only wanted to argue with you two. I mean, that makes sense. So you can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch, or you can find me in game at Melarina or on Arielina. And that's it.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't actually do the in-game thing. Like, that could be a little weird when I'm trying to like do quests and stuff, and someone sends me a tell, and I'm like, "Are you my guild?
Yeah,
Are you
I mean,
an
if
alt?
I
Do I know
don't-
you?"
Yeah, if I don't know you, please just say like, "Hey, I'm a podcast listener" or something like that, so I know, so I don't feel weird, because I'm really bad at people and knowing who people are, and so usually I'm like, "Ooh, should I know this person?" But also know if am in something, I'm really bad, just like I'm with text in real life, about answering. So
Yeah, same.
Oh, I know why. If I can just insert why I didn't answer this. It's because of this weird misconception. 60-40. That sounds pretty close, right?
Mm-hmm.
60 is 50% bigger than 40. It doesn't feel intuitive maybe, but people think that 60-40 is some sort of like nearly balanced server. But 60-40 is it's not. There's 50% more horde than
Yeah,
alliance.
if like
that is a huge imbalance.
in almost any game where it's trying to be a competitive game, like say for Overwatch, if any hero has a 60-40 win rate, you're nerfing that hero to the ground. It's a huge differential that people don't like. It sounds close, but it really is not.
Human brains can't understand like percentages and probability well, so you have to like think of it in other terms.
If you want to go down a rabbit hole, just Google 60% to 40% difference, and you will go down a rabbit hole of economics and everything else. Like it's definitely big.
Just look at the numbers instead of the percentage, right? Like I get that people like to look at percentages, but try to look at like the actual number and how many more that 20% is accounting for, right? That's why percentage is just in general a really stupid metric. Because it doesn't account for, like, we could have a 50-50 server with one person on each side. Like, that's cool, right? Like, no.
There's no PvP happening at all.
Yeah, like these two people are on opposite ends of the world here. They can't even make it to each other.
I mean, if it was that case, they would be friends because they'd have to group up for group quests.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like percentage, that's why percentage is a awful metric for measurement in general.
I would like to issue at the end of the show here a hearty thank you to all the Horde that let me craft my Shadow Cloth and my 2 level 60 tunes every week. Thank you so much. You know who you are. You've seen me walk by. All right, you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can find me on Twitch, sometimes streaming, sometimes not. Twitch.tv/BlazinBob. Let's get out. I thought this was going to be a short episode, guys.
We killed them.
We extended the beginning.
I know. Like, but it was actually really good at the beginning, so I was like, well, I'm not going to move us on. Like, I had told our guest he'd be on earlier, and then was had to be like, oh, sorry. Yeah.
There's almost zero chance that guest
Yeah, we
was
have a
not some-
short episode.
No, like Bob just hired someone off Fiverr to come say Alliance should have dual spec, right? Like that's 100% what just happened.
Oh man.
Yes.
What a plant.
Right?
Well, I mean,
And then in spite of Bob, they said I agree with Mel.
and it's why I didn't have time to write any reviews this week. I mean, come
Yes,
on.
I understand now. Okay. It's all making sense.
We're out of here, guys. Take it easy. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.